Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 3 of the Ultimate Zafina Guide. Before I get into our next move, I want to cover two things that I had to continue speaking of that I didn't inherit in part 2 of the video. Alright, so when you do down 3 on hit, on counter hit it's really strong, but when you do the move, if you don't hold down, like I said, you get while standing attacks. But one of the best options is doing while standing 4 because you can't sidestep or avoid or attack it. So unless the opponent doesn't do it, unless the Zafina player doesn't do it, the option is always there. So if you land that, it's always good. It's pretty good on counter hit as well. And it just kind of knocks them back. Also, the move cannot be parried, and Wang cannot parry the move, which is good. He cannot neutralize it. So that's another thing I just wanted to go ahead and mention about that move. Really good attack to use when you hit confirm you're down 3 a lot. It's a good follow up. Of course, you can hold crouch forward, hold man stance as I mentioned before, but that's one I wanted to inherit because bring up in the video because I use that a lot in my matches, and a lot of Zafina players will use that. Let's see. I believe there was something else I forgot to mention. Alright, anyway, until I can remember what the other one was. What you want to do, let's see what the next move was. Okay, so the next move I left off on was Spear of Oulu. This is a unblockable attack. I don't use this move really often. It's unique in a way because it sort of looks like down forward 1+2, except you can obviously see the sparks. But this move is really hard to really use. I mean, any unblockable can be. It's okay by the wall, but the best option to use it is, I'll show you right now. It's the best option I use for it, at least. That's really how I use it. I just use it after a wall break. So otherwise than that, there's not really much to talk about with that move. Let's see. Lapis Dagger, up forward 1. Okay, this move, and playing pokes can be important. It's just kind of important as back too, as though it's very situational option for poking. One smart way to use it is to kind of use jab to kind of like just cover space and then use it. That's kind of how I use it sometimes. You can just, I like to call it the jab fake, as you can do this option and then try just to mix options up from whiff punishing. But up forward 1 is one of the best options from it. As you saw earlier in combos, up forward 1 is really good at floating by combos, and it's naturally, when you do up forward, when you down forward 2, up forward 1 is your best combo option there. Now speaking of, if you do down forward 2, up forward 1 and down forward 1 are your main combos, ways to start your combos, but you want to do it in 2 different ways. Sometimes you want to do a forward 1, down forward, and then you can do 2, 3, and then this move into a bound. Or if you want to do a move that keeps them closer, you don't do the down forward 1, you do the up forward 1. So you do this, and then you do 2, 3, hold back, and then you can do that combo. So you have to not option select, but you have to change your options so your combos can vary so you don't drop them, so you get crisper combos. So you want to launch, you do up forward 1 and down forward 1. And then the other option is do up forward and then do forward 2, 3, hold back, and then bound 1+2. So those are options that you want to use as far as your combos. Which are your 2 main combos. Then there's, like I said, up forward 1. Now this move on counter hit knocks back. You don't get nothing from it, but it's a good way to knock back and chase down. And you can tack on some okies there. The move is 19 frame startup. It's +2 on block and +7 on hit. So you can use it a lot in like punishes there. So you can like tack the move on. I'm not saying to do it again after that, that move's -12, but jab or forward. It's a high, but you want to mix it around every once in a while. It's really good to whip punish with. It's really hard to use because it's a high and it's slow. But there's really good ways to use it when you're just spacing out correctly and trying to get in there when your opponent doesn't see the space. That's how I like to use it. And like I said, otherwise than that, you can use it to float by the wall. See, up forward. Let me see if I can show you a different combo. Yeah, then you could use up forward 1 to float right to the wall. It's better than 1 and 2, which I showed you in the beginning of the first video. That's pretty good at moving them there, but up forward 1's a better option. Otherwise than that, the move doesn't track or anything, has no other uses. What's our next attack? Alright, Iali. Okay. This up forward 3 attack, it has 2 versions, up forward 3 and up back 3. Up back 3 is sort of decent sometimes when you're in pressure situations. Doesn't really do much in the beginning of a round though. You can use it every once in a while to get space, and if your opponent tries to hit you, it just kind of kicks them in the face. You won't see it though unless the opponent's moving forward. But both versions are actually really safe on block. Up back 3 does not knock down hit, but it gets you away from the opponent. On block, I believe up forward 3 is what? I believe it's -8 on block. It's 18 frame startup. I believe up back 3 is actually -6. Now when you land the move, actually not kind of hit, it'll just knock down. If you land the move, they float like that. You don't get anything guaranteed because they can tech roll or side roll immediately the moment they hit the floor. But if they don't, you can dash forward and try it down too. Let's see. So it doesn't counter. Does it do anything different? No. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much all you want to mention about that move. Before I get to the next stack, now I remember what I wanted to talk about. When I was mentioning 1+2, 1+2 earlier, I forgot to mention that another reason not to do the delay too often, and when I was mentioning about how you could sidestep the 1+2 part at the end, you have to be careful because the moves delay. I'm not talking about even when you delay it like this. If you delay it like this heavy, or just the move has a natural delay in it, like you just naturally do it like that. If you do it like that, you want to be careful because not only can they sidestep it, but they can parry the move and they can attack before it comes out. They can only really attack with like a 10 frame attack, but they can still attack it if you're trying to be reckless. So that's something important I wanted to mention about that move before the video was done, so nobody's out there like, oh, it's -9. Now let me just go ahead and use it. You have to be very careful with that move. But like I said, if you use the dead buttons a lot, you'll be a lot smarter at using it. Let's see. Okay, so up forward 1, up forward 3. Philobites. Philobates, I believe it's called. Okay, this move I like to call Spider Trap. And so the move is 18 frames, it's -7 on block and +6 on hit. On counter hit, it knocks down, in a really funny looking way too. This is more of like a surprise attack. You have to be careful with it though. It does crush lows, which is really important. So it's very good against Eddie Christie, and a lot of characters like to stay grounded. Like if you're fighting the Bears, or who else? I don't know. A lot of those characters like to just kind of like to just crawl and get in there. It's really good at just crushing lows and getting in there because she leaps, and you can see how active it is late, right when she's at the floor. So those 2 hands right before they hit the floor will crush a crouching opponent. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier too, but 1-4 is also a good way to deal with Eddie Christie. And those characters that are trying to just roll around and get in there. Capos, Lay, it's really good at dealing with those kind of characters. You kind of use this move like that, so they try to roll in, it just knocks them away from you, and then you can just crawl forward for some pressure. Okay, so I call it Spider Trap because in combos, if you use this move, that's a bad example, but you can use the move to end some of your combo. Okay, let me take her off back roll so I have to chase her down. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Bad example. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Trying to sidestep. Yeah. So you can do that in endless stages. When you do the move, you go like this and you pounce them to the floor. So as you're in Tarantula Stance here, you can attack with down one or just keep crawling forward to pressure them. It's kind of a good way to keep your opponent locked down to the floor after a combo. So when you do a combo in the air and your Zafina is a little too far, if you can dash up, 1+2 and Spider Trap are your two best enders. 1+2 and Spider Trap both flatten to the ground, but their options differ. Like this, you want to always get a back 1+2 to hit, but at least in this, you're guaranteed a down one. There's a match I did recently where I'll show you that, but I didn't do it up for a combo. I just did the move to surprise my opponent, and they try to tag out, and when I landed, the one hit their partner on the way out. So if you do this move, and you do this, and they're trying to roll backwards and tag out, it'll hit them on the way out. I'll talk more about that stance when I get to it, the other moves from it that you can use when you do Spider Trap. But yeah, that's pretty much all that move has to it. So the move is 18 frames. Oh, sorry, I already mentioned that. But yeah, otherwise not a counter hit, it's pretty good. Crushes lows to get around a lot of those really heavy stance characters. And that's another thing I want to mention too before I get into stances. You don't want to use those stances to like defend when you're underconfident. Like you don't want to rely on stances a lot to get you out of situations. You want to use them when your opponent hasn't seen them, when you want to expect them. Like you want to do a lot of pokes and safe attacks because she has a lot of slow moves and unsafe moves. But like I said earlier, you have to be creative and you have to basically know your ranges and what your frame data is. Her frame data is super important, and I really wanted to cover a lot of that in this video because you don't want to just play her and you already know off the back she's unsafe, so you don't want to be doing just anything hoping it hits. Because you see a lot of Zafina players online, not really in person, but a lot of them online going into stances and just throwing out stuff like this, and it's just, if it's unsafe, they get launched all day and they're just thinking Zafina's, just full of buttons. You have to play really smart with this character. And I think frame data is one of her most important, it's very important for this character to have. You have to know the frame data with her to play really good with her. And that's one thing I really wanted to include in my guide is the other ones didn't really mention the frames too much. They kind of just said if it was safe or unsafe. And if I'm looking at a guide as a player for a character, like I like how Eris does on avoiding the puddle with his videos. He mentions the frames and startup and what's good about every move, and it's pretty much how all guides should be for any game, People really need to understand. It's always good to know about moves, but it's always better to know frames and everything too. Even if you don't know what frames are about, like if you're kind of just fishing around playing fighting games and don't know too much, if you want to know if your attacks are working or why you're being punished, always look up frame data. And I think it's very important to know for this character before you go into battle with her, especially against good players online and good players offline. Because I played with her at CEO this year, and I played against the ATL Brian Bruce player Pokechop, and a lot of other players. I played against a double chain player, and I did pretty good against all of them. I didn't play as good as I do now because, of course, I didn't know my frame data then, but I played okay. If I knew my frame data, things would have been better. But yeah, it's just very important to know. Okay, so now we're going to go into Gilgamesh Blast. Okay, this move is another one of the 16 frame punishers I was talking about. Now, of course, when you do 16 frames, the only way you really want to punish, honestly, is with hop kick. But there are some moves where your opponent, like if you're fighting a Brian or a Paul, where they'll push you back too far to hit them with those moves. So let's say you're facing Paul. Paul has that move where he does, I believe it's down one and then two, where he like pushes you really far. Back 1+2 is the only thing she has that's going to punish that. So you have to be very careful with that. 4-4-2 may hit, but how far he is, he'll probably duck it. But because he hits you, and I think you get like this, about this far from him. So you're able to punish with that. And it does say punish, so it's 16 frames or more after the punish him. But you don't want to try to get in there and have Paul sidestep you, Okay, so as far as it being a 16 frame move, well, it says it's 15 frames. Okay. But anyway, it's a +1 on block. It's a tracking move. It's also very important, not very important in some combos, but there's one in her move list. Let me see if I can show you that real quick, because I'm not too strong at the combo. Well, you know what, let me go ahead and try it. I don't want to go all the way down there and mess the combo up. Okay, so she has this move where she'll go into Tarantula, and 4-4-2 is like important for landing that combo. So let me see if I can just do the combo. You really gotta like do that too. I don't know. I don't want to get impatient and waste video time. Okay, so let me just go show you the combo real quick. I don't really use it in too many combos, but you can use it. Where's the 4-4-2? Right here. And then you're going to do 4-4-2 there, and then you're going to catch with this. And it does 84 damage. That move and that stance is actually very hard to do, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. Okay, so, yeah. But otherwise than that, yeah, that's pretty much all that move really does. It's a pretty good running attack. You definitely want to buffer your running attacks a lot in your jab strings. Like that. So, okay, let's move on to the next move. Cigars Smash. Alright, this move, outside of the one that comes with it, this move is very, very important and key to the walls. Alright, so you got 4-4-3. You can do 4-4-3 back. The frame there doesn't change. It's +5 on hit and neutral on block. It is. Let me see. The startup frame is 20. If you do the whole thing with the one attack, I recommend not using that. It is -16 on block. You can delay it, but it's really, really not worth doing it. Yeah, you can delay it, but it's -16. But you don't want to do that because if you land the 4-4, like I said, +5 on hit. So whether you hold back or not, it doesn't matter. So just leaving it in the stance is just a better option. And you can pressure with a lot of these stance attacks. The way you really can't use it like in combos, but it's a good way to catch rollers on the ground. Of course, side roll is not easy; it doesn't track. But let's say they were to try to wake up attack or back roll. So let's try this. So like that, it'll catch if they try to back roll, and of course, I mean, you can't bound with it, but of course, if you do that, I think the forward itself bounds. Yeah, so you can just do that. But yeah, by the wall, it's really important. Let me just see if I can show you a small setup. You'll see a lot of the Korean Zafina players doing this too. So let me just get. So then you can do this to kind of keep them grounded. It won't combo, but if they try to roll anywhere, this will catch them. And then of course, if you do that to end some of your wall combos or just like to whiff it, you can just move around and just attack them with stances while they're trying to get up. It's really good to lock your opponent down by the wall. That's another key move in whip punishing. Is 4-4-3. Let me look back real quick. Did I mention anything that was a key move? Whip punish. Spirit of Oulu. Fury. Okay. Roundhouse Kick. This is another one. Not too much about it. 17 frame startup, -8 on block, knocks down, obviously on hit. It's good sometimes to use in your to end some combos. It does wall splat. Let me see if I can show you a sample combo. Nope, I didn't dash there. And that combo, yeah, about 80 damage. Okay, yeah, so like I said, just kind of throw it in some of your strings, like when you're safe on an attack. Oh, wrong idea. Oh, sorry. You have to like pressure the dashes really well when you're mixing. They like that. But it's -8, so be careful. It does track. Let's see, Oulu. What's this? This move, pretty decent. As a combo in there, it's kind of hard to show in these kind of stages though. But I'll see if I can show you a combo. I usually drop it though when I try to show them on these stages, but I'll try. Making good progress. We should be through about stances before I get to video 4. Okay. Let me see if I can show you. It can be difficult sometimes. You have to really buffer the inputs like really fast. Man. Yeah, she can have some pretty difficult combo fillers, so be careful on what you want to use. I'm just really bad at doing it. But you gotta do forward, you gotta do forward, hold forward, and then 3+4. And it'll end some combos. I'm gonna try it one more time to show you. Like I said, I'm not gonna show a combo section, so when I do the moves, I'm gonna show where they're good in combos at. Just the best way I can though. Damn. Alright, I'm gonna try it one more time. I don't want to waste precious video time, but I'm just trying to show you. Why can I not do the dash after that? Let me try one more time. She's not like dashing. It's kind of getting frustrating. She's not, I don't know, maybe I'm just not doing it right, I don't know. But yeah, you can end a lot of combos with that, and just after the move, it's really good on endless stages more than it is these kind of stages, but of course, when you do land them on these stages, this move will wall splat your opponent. Let me see if I can do it. Oh, that was stupid. Oh, that was could have wall splat. Yeah, and then she can do that. And of course, you can follow up with some attacks. Yeah, like I was mentioning, 4-4-3 is really good at catching side rollers and wake up attacks by the wall. Oh yeah, I want to mention something else too about this move. I forgot. Just real quick, by the wall, I showed you it works with that really cool wall trick. It's also really good at catching raw tags if you do it correctly. And if by the wall, if they do, I don't know how to do it on this, but if they do that tag where they kind of roll back and the other character just comes, not falling, that's a tag crash, but if they come just kind of jumping down, they only do it by the wall. I forgot how you do it. I think it's tag roll or something. They roll backwards and the other character will kind of jump in. This move is really good at catching them on the way in, since they can't block it immediately. So you do that and you get a crush and you get another wall combo. Yeah, I just want to make sure I mention that as much as I can. Let's see. Okay, so this move is 21 frames and it's -11 on block. It's also, if you hold down, you go into mana stance and it becomes -12 on block. There's also something else I want to show too. This will most likely never happen in the match, but you know, it's just the more you know. Status player. Oh, let me put the computer on the ground. Alright, so I'm just going to show you this real quick. It's not too important, but let's say you get knocked back and they're waiting on you. Yeah, you can, the other leg can like kind of hit your opponent. On top of that, she kind of does have like a way to like back turn, so it's pretty interesting. Oh, it wasn't that much there. I'm really mad I couldn't show you guys that those. I'm gonna try it one more time. Those combos that work with that move. I really can't get that dash to work right now. Let me try one more time. I'm sorry, I don't want to waste more video time. I just want to show you. It's really, it's kind of an important aspect of combos. I don't know. I'm not getting to work. I'm wasting more time. But you pretty much have to, when the combo's over, forward, hold forward, and yeah, you gotta be careful too. And you get that as a wall splat. You also want to be careful though, because 3 + 4 gets you in the scarecrow stance. So sometimes you'll dash after if the input is not correct, and you'll get that. So that's why I don't really recommend it as a combo ender, but because of the wall splat, it's rewarding. Okay, that's pretty much about that move. Leaping Sidekick, you know, pretty much your standard 4-4-3. I mean, 4-4-4-3. It's really good at any combos. It's 24 frame startup and it's -30 on block. Holy shit. Well, it's a good thing I don't use running attacks often, but you know, if you want to use that, you might as well just use like the 4-4-3. You know, really good attacks like that. I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't use that move outside of combos. All right, Tarantula Dive. This move, I used to never use it, but now it's become very important to me. Now, doing it in open ground is almost impossible. You know, unless you're just over here and you're like, you know, Geronimo and you just do it. What I want to talk about, the best way to use this move is you have to kind of mindfuck your opponent and have you know, playing around with pressure with the other character and just throw her in there. Now, this move has something I just recently discovered to it. It's not in the book and I haven't seen it in anybody else's guides. If you hold, if you hold down, she actually goes into Tarantula Stance, which is very, very important. If you also do it, sorry. If you hold up, she gets in back turn stance. Also, it might be a kind of a pain in the ass to show you this. I'm just gonna try. But this stage is pretty large enough, but I'll try to show you. She can really use that to end her combos that go into wall splat. So I'm gonna try to show you. Oh. Yeah, this sometimes takes a while, but this is something I definitely want to show you. I don't do this as bad as the other combo, so. Oh, not what I want. Yeah, her combos can be difficult if you make them hard. Otherwise, not just keep them simple. Ah, crap. Alright, let me try something else. This is actually very important. It's a lot easier for me to land it like in a fight outside of training mode. See, I can't do the forward when I'm training for some reason for you guys. This I do want to show. Last time I tried to show this on video, it took quite a while, so. Ah, man, I cannot do forward. He just keeps walking. I don't know. Kind of frustrating when you're trying to show people a video, you know? I don't know what is going on tonight, why I cannot forward when I'm in the bound state. It's really getting on my nerves. I think that was it. Almost had it. You gotta have more space, though. You have to have a lot of space to land it. You have to. She has to be able to land at least 3 dashes. That could have been it, but I hit the wrong button. Darn it. Yeah, you gotta be careful sometimes when you try to attack them after certain moves. Oh, man, this is getting annoying. I am getting really annoyed right now. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's easier to show it on the endless stage, but I want to show you with the wall splat. That's the wrong way to show it. This stage is not the best example. But I can do it on any stage. It's just, I don't know, when I'm in training mode, when I'm wasting video time, I can't seem to show it. It can be hard to do. I'm wasting a lot of videos, man. All right, let me just show a different way, because her combo is a little bit harder to do it. Let me show you with Fang. I can do one of his combos, and then I'll just show you a reason. Like that. Just get him by the wall. And of course, if you hold down, I'll show you a tricky way to deal with it too. You can kind of do that to be a little bitch if you want to. Yeah, I'm sorry that took so long. I can do it with her. It's just wasting time right now. So yeah, you can use it to come in sometimes. Like if you do certain attacks that tag out, you can use that to come in. It's really good. But like I said, hold up to go in back turn. And, whip punish if they try to do wake up attacks. And she can also jump from back turn into delay hop kicks, and then of course just hold down to go into Tarantula Stance. Very smart, and I just recently figured that out like last week. Alright, now we're going to go into her while standing attacks. So we got while standing 1.
which is 15 frame startup. It's negative 10 on block, and it's
+1 on hit. So I used to actually think that was more unsafe than that. It does have a delay, which is a really good combo launcher. It says it combos, and does it combo? Yeah, that's right. It does combo on hit. So sometimes you want to do this, and even with the delay, you want to just make sure you landed it. Now, if it's on block, man, I gotta really put these characters on stand guard. Okay. Now, if it is on block, you can like slightly delay it to catch your opponent, but it's unsafe. The second part, I believe, is doing the whole part is what? Negative 13. So it's not too bad, but you can get punished for like Fang shoulder and whatnot. So be careful with that. But yeah, it's negative 10. So like I said earlier, you can use like down 3 to fish with it, or you can do this attack to fish with it. You'll see a lot of Korean players, like if you watch, type in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Knee Zafina, and you see him playing my team, Zafina Fang, and he does a lot of this in the match, like a lot of this, and just rising that. And I was just wondering why he was doing it, and it's because it's negative 10. I thought it was less than that. That's why I always just gambled and did both parts. So that's pretty much what that, yeah, 15 frame startup. Otherwise than that, yeah, if you do land it, it does tag out. Let me show you a combo with it. Oh, it doesn't combo. Let me see. You can do that. Wrong combo opportunity. Yeah, so you can just be really creative by the wall, 4-4-3. But that's pretty much all that move is too. Just be careful with the delay. If you catch your opponent, you can do combo. I mean, you can do a follow-up combo, or you can tag out to take some red health. Oh, this is the same way I just showed you. Negative 13. Alright, While Rising Claw. This move is super important. It crushes pretty much everything. It can be tagged out. You have great combo opportunities from it, like up forward. Let me see if I can show you. Up forward 1. Well, no, you can't do up forward with that. Okay. So you want to do down forward 1 and then forward 2, 3 delay. 1+2 is a good option. Up forward 1. And that combo, yeah, 98 damage. Okay, yeah. See, I'm just showing you combos that go along with the moves. Okay, now on block, this move is crap. I can't let me see. There we go. Okay, so it's 18 frames, and it's negative 14 on block, which is really bad. Now what you want to do is, if you hold down back, you get into mana stance here. Now, the best way to use this move, but it can be difficult, is you have to option select between back roll and tag. So what you want to do is, if you're going for the move, and you do the while standing tag, you want to hold down back while pressing tag. So you're going to be doing an options. So just in case it's blocked, you can roll backwards, and if it's hit, you roll backwards and you can tag out into the opponent, to your partner. So you have to option select it. It can be very difficult to do that sometimes, but it's a better way to not get punished. Now you have to be careful. If you back roll every time, your opponent's going to catch on and start chasing you down. Just because you can get away doesn't mean they're not going to chase you down and try to attack you. I mean, this stance, like I said, has an auto block in it. Just be careful, your opponent will go in with anything. That stance is also very special too. I'll get into that in a few. Otherwise than that, yeah, besides the move crushing everything, it's not really good in any other uses. One interesting way to use it is you can use like this to get in and then tag. That's one way I do it, to crush high attacks when opponent's trying to hit me, when they see me doing that. So that's one way I like to use it. Let's see, spinning sweep. Okay. I also need to mention, as I go into this, she only has one full crouching attack and one sidestep attack. So her crouching attack is full crouch down 4-3, and I also mentioned she has a down 3, which is right here, full crouch down 3. You know, like a down 4 and whatnot, but she has this move. This move doesn't have any frame data on it, so I don't know what it is. Counter hit doesn't really do anything that I know of. Nope. It's just a pretty good poke. You can fish for it to land this move. Okay, now this move has some pretty good setups after it. Let's see. It's 23 frame startup and it's negative 26 on block. It won't get blocked often as long as you're not predictable or repetitive with it. It's something you just want to sneak in once in a while. Like a good setup is like doing this into that. That's a good option. Like doing this, crouch step, side do that. What is it? Side crouch cancel? Yeah. That's a good way to do it. Okay, now, one of the better ways to use it is if you do, let me try to have them roll forward. Back roll. Okay, if you do the attack and then do back 3, it's guaranteed. Let's see what else. Also, when you do the move, you hold down, you stay in the mana stance. And there's 2 mix-up options from it, and depending on your choice, you can do that, and then do down, back, 2, 4, which will catch back rollers. And of course, if you do that move, you dash forward, you'll get a tag, and your other partner can come in and do some damage. It's really good near the wall, too, because it gets a wall splat. Another good option, if you do that and stay down, you can use that move right there, too, which is mana stance 3, 4. Now, if they side roll, I believe, yeah, you can just do, you can, let's see if you did it without standing. Yeah, so you just do down, back 4. That's another good way too to kind of move your opponent around the screen. If you knock them down, just kind of do like this and dash forward. Just keep. Sorry, I messed that up. Messed up again. You kind of just keep like hitting your opponent like on the ground, just moving towards the wall. But otherwise, not really big about that move. But it's really good to sneak in there once in a while. All right, and this is the one sidestep move she has, Jamek. All right, this move is I don't know if I showed you earlier. But this move is really good to sneak in by the wall. Like I always do this, and if they wake up, if they try to wake up attack or they try to just stand up or attack crash, this move will usually catch them. It's one of my favorite moves to use by the wall. If they side roll, of course you're at safe advantage, so of course you can just block a wake up attack or wherever they go, and just pressure as they're escaping the wall with 4, 4, 3. Down for 1, which does catch on the ground. Use attacks like that. On the move, 17 frames. It's -2 on block, and it's +8 on hit, and it stuns them to the ground, as you can see there. On counter hit, it knocks to the floor, which is the main reason I like using it by the wall. I'm just not showing it there, but yeah, like that. Okay. Also, if you do land this move, your best option is down for 1 +2. Oh, never mind, sorry. If you do down for 1 +2 and do this move, you get a small bound combo from it. So, that's something I wanted to mention about combos as far as down for 1 +2. Alright, that's pretty much about that move. Pretty slow move, so don't abuse it. Alright, now it's time for stances. So let's see if we can get into some of Tarantula. Alright. Okay, so how you get a Tarantula is down 1 +2, 1, 4, down 2, 4, hold down. See if there's any other ways. You can mix it in some of your mix-up options like this. I did that a lot right there. It's a good way to crush your opponent if they're trying to think too long. Okay, now I want to talk about something real quick. Did I mention all the ways to get into it already? Down 1 +2. Oh yeah, Philobites is another good way to get into it. I mentioned 1, 4. Down 2, 4, hold down. I think that's about it. The other stances just really go into Madness and Scarecrow. Okay. Okay, so we're mentioning the chances. Okay, now I know what I'm talking about. All right, this stance is really important for getting around bullshit gimmicks. And on top of that, the move cannot be punished by anything but a low, and because it has to be punished by lows, you can really get in there and pressure your opponent. It cannot be hop kicked, it cannot be ground thrown, nothing in any way. Even if you're crawling, you cannot be hit. Now the only way you can be hit is if your opponent has a really, really low mid hitbox, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm gonna put her into this, and I'm gonna tag Fang in. Now you see I can't hop kick, and I can't even do like back 2, which is a mid. But if I do shoulder, his move is really low to the ground, so it's going to hit her out of that. So in order to get around that, you have to know, with your character, if you're fighting as Zafina using that, you have to know what move you can use that could be mid to hit that. Otherwise, now of course use the low, but before that low even comes out, she's going to hit you with Tarantula Stance 1 or 3. So you have to be very careful when she gets in that stance, especially when she does 1, 4, because she's so far in range. So if you're trying to hit her too much, it's going to hit you. Alright, now I want to talk about what I mean by this gets around bullshit. Okay, so let me put her back in. And what I mean by like 3 and stuff is if you try to do an attack and she'll hit you with this or this. Good Oki attacks. Alright. Let me show you something with Jinpachi. Okay. Sorry. Okay. A lot of Jinpachi players online are going to spam the fuck out of that move. You know, a lot of them will just use it if you're full screen. And you know, sometimes sidestepping immediately can be hard. Now, I want to show this because a lot of Jinpachi players, if they're just not caring, they'll use that, and I'm going to show you what you can do with it. You can get completely under the move, especially if you're close. And you have to be careful how you punish. But she can get underneath with a combo like that, and it does combo. And carry him to the wall. And he just lost 93 damage just for being an idiot. And of course, if you're closer, like if they fuck up, you get a free launcher that way. Yeah. Pretty good stuff there. So I just wanted to go ahead and show that. Yeah. She can't be hit at all if they do that. It's also good to get underneath like Kazuya players, just spamming lasers. It's also really good too on grounded lasers, like if Jin's standing up and shooting on the ground. But that's more situational though. Like, well, if he's doing it in front of you, no, you can't crawl underneath it. But there are some spots you have to be on screen when using Tarantula Stance that if Devil Jin, I think Kazuya in Devil form too, but if Devil Jin and Angel are in the air shooting laser from the air to the ground, you can crawl right underneath it. So when he floats back down, you get a punish. So yeah, that's something super important I want to go ahead and share. That's the only reason I had Jinpachi here the whole time. I wanted to go ahead and show that. Okay, so that's as far as the stance itself. Gets under everything. It's really good. Really annoying. Use it a lot just to throw your opponent off. But like I said, don't use it to just be crazy with it. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay. So yeah, just be careful with how you use it. Don't overuse it. Your opponent's just gonna keep hitting you low. You have to surprise them, but like do 1-4 and whatnot. Okay, yeah. So that's that, and then we're gonna go into Tarantula Stance 1. And the video is almost out of room, so we're just gonna talk about Tarantula Stance for now. And then 4, we'll just go into the last 2 stances, and that should be it. Okay, so Tarantula Stance 1 is 18 frames. It's -11 on block. It says it's plus 21 on hit, but that's not true. Yeah, show tell, I believe it is. This is plus 21 hit, but I know it's not true. I think it's like plus 7 or something. I don't really know. Hit is good no matter what. I think it knocks down on counter hit. Yeah. Okay. Now what you want to do is when you ever get in the stance, if you want to fish your opponent out, using this move is really good. Like I showed you earlier with Tarantula Stance and like doing Philobites. This is a really good lead attack. One good way to punish your opponent if they think you're going to do the 1 attack is to do 3. Now when you do 3 is 34. Oh, sorry, that's stalker. 3 is 14 frames and it's -7. This move is your primary poke. They can't side roll out of this. They can't back roll out of this. They can't do anything to escape this move if you use it correctly. Wake up attacks, low kicks, everything get hit by this move, unless they just wait it out. Now, if they whiff it, they can wake up kick you, so you have to be careful when using it. But they can't get away from it any other way. Now, when you do the move, if they happen to block it, if you hold down, you go into mana stance. Otherwise than that, I believe you hold. Yeah, if you hold up, you stand up. So let's say they block it and you stand up, and then you can be tricky and go back down and give them a down 3. So you have to mix this option up. You'll land it more times than they'll block it, and that's pretty good range too. So otherwise than that, yeah, just hold down and practice between holding up, just to get some mix-ups in your opponent. It's a really good way to show them that you know a lot about the move. You have to be very strong with using it because it's good in so many ways, but you can still be punished for trying it out. Otherwise than that, let's see, pretty good by the wall too. But the range is usually my favorite part of the move. I don't think it does anything on counter hit. Yeah, same thing. Okay, let's see. The next one was Tarantula Stance 2. Now this move is 34 frames and it's only -9 on block. Landing this move is really, really, I'm not gonna say impossible, but it's very situational to ever get it to land. I have to say one of the better ways you can use it. Let's see if I can show you a way that I could probably use it. I don't know, maybe like that, I don't know. But there's no real ways to really use that move. But if you do get it, of course, on whip punish, it does tag out. And of course, I showed you the combo earlier with the forward 4-2. But as far as it being negative 9 on block, it's all dependent on you. Like, let's say they block this move and you decide to use that. You know, it's pretty good for that. It does not catch rolling, but if you do it quick enough, it will catch wake up attacks. Let me see if I can show you that. Yeah, see, it'll catch it immediately. Yeah, she has really good damage that takes you to the wall. When I get to video 4, when I'm done with stances, I'll go ahead and talk to you about a little bit of wall carry that she can do. Alright, so yeah, as far as that, let me put it back on side roll. Otherwise than that, that move, it doesn't have any uses to it. You just have to be very careful when you want to use it. Then we got, like I told you earlier, 3-4, which is the other option that down 2-4-3. Of course, like I told you, if you do the 4-3 and they block the 4 but get hit by the 3, of course, like I told you, you can do the 3 and follow up with a bound combo. And of course, if they were those characters that I mentioned earlier, do down forward 1 to catch them, and you can still do the bound. But so yeah, just to elaborate and mention, standing 3 has a very low hitbox on it, so it catches grounded characters and whatnot. It's really good. Let's see. Yeah. So otherwise than that, if you do like 1-4 and you get really far, let me see. It's kind of easier to show it on block. You see how far you get? Like 4 is good, and then you hold down and you stay into it. If you let go, you get in the mana stance, and it's just good to kind of poke with because the range on it is really good. So that's a good way to kind of just like kill time and just test your opponent out. Look at that, look at the range on that. It's so good. Yeah, your opponent won't be pressing buttons for shit with that move. Okay, so what we got next? Tarantula Scimitar, Tarantula Claw. Okay, this move I showed you earlier with 1-4 and counter hit. It's good on bound. Otherwise than that, the only other use I have for it is, let's see. It is, it's 19 frame startup and it's negative 13 on block. It does crush some wake up attacks, and you really want to use it. Let me see if I can show you a wake up kick real quick. Wake up low kick. Oh, sorry. So let's say you turn back roll. Like that, so you don't catch. You get a punish and you get a bound. Otherwise than that, besides, it's decent on block. It's negative 13, otherwise than that, it has pretty good bounds. Has good range, I guess if you kind of just want to like safely try to get in and pressure your opponent. I think you can bound if you land it. Let me see. Nah, okay. Well, you bound if you get like a counter hit. I was trying to see if standing 3 would catch it, but no. You don't get no follow-ups outside of it being a bound. All you can really do when you land it is just kind of circle around your opponent and just, add on some pressure. Alright, so then that leaves, I got one move to talk about before the video cuts out. Then it leaves Tarantula Scimitar. This move here, down 1+2, 25 frames, negative 21 on block. The only really good way to use it is if you knock your opponent down, do like 1, and then mix this up, and it kind of just go forward. If you do the move, you automatically go in a mana stance. You can't stay in Tarantula Stance. Can you hold up? Let me see. No. Okay. So the move does track. It grabs your opponent. It's really good on hit. I don't think it has any follow-ups. Let me try to see. Oh, sorry. I guess you could try that, but I don't know. I don't think it combos. But otherwise than that, yeah, there's not really much to that move. The only way you can really use it is if you knock their opponent down. Your main pokes when you're in this is 1 and 3. So that's pretty much Tarantula Stance and the interesting ways to use it around gimmicks like I showed you with Jinpachi. So we'll be right back with video number 4 to cover the last 2 stances and then wrap things up from there. Thank you guys for staying tuned.